I did have a haircut. I just didn't shave. I was planning on shaving this morning. I don't normally have a beard. It's that time attack life.
Welcome to this episode of Road to World Time Attack Challenge 2024 presented by Supercheap Auto. Today, we're here with Team Close Enough Racing and we'll be talking to Justin Gaujenieks about his time attack Toyota MRS.
I'm Justin Gaujenieks. This is my Toyota MRS. Close Enough Racing is the team, and I'm entered in the open class on World Time Attack 2024. Simple terms, Close Enough Racing started, or the name started, was my close mates who we were working on cars with. We started building this car, and it was just a case of when we're fitting everything to the car, it was literally, it's close enough. It's like, as a race car, how close does it need to be? And then it just became a running joke for the entire build process that everything that we're fitting is like, I'm close enough.
Could you talk about your personal journey with cars and what you went through to get where you are today?
I was originally into JDM stuff from the beginning and got into the classic initial D side of things of wanting to do hill drives and stuff. So I bought a 80s CRX to start doing track days with. That's sort of where it started, was tracking with a group called the XE Crew. It's one of those things when you find people who have a like-minded thing of wanting to track and encourage people to try and improve your skill set in a chosen field of enjoyment. But yeah, it just sort of grew in from that it's like you go fast and then you want to go faster, and then you realize what you have can't go faster because it starts getting dangerous. So that's when I guess this came about. Was my Honda was broken at the time and I wanted to change to something else. So my mechanic had two of these for sale, completely standard grey import JDM version of a MRS. These cars are amazing. Every panel pulls off it. You can build like a sick wide body car with it. I'm like, oh, that'd be fun. And then started on the old Google look around and stuff, and then came across all the old hot version videos of the Spirit's time attack car. And I'm like, okay, that looks sick, and that looks like it's actually quick. I think I did one Winton day with it standard, just to see what it was like, and then was just hooked on how the car drove. And then it was engine swap like the next month. But I actually attended, what about in the first year of Time Attack 2010? Yeah, so I attended the first year of that and I thought this is absolutely sick, and had mates competing, and I was like sitting in the grandstand and then seeing them actually in the pits or whatever pushing their cars out to get going. I'm like, oh yeah, that is absolutely sick. I need to do that. And I think it was the next year after, I bought an Evo to compete in Club Sprint, and then did that and thought this is actually quite fun. And then I had this sitting here, bugger it, I'll get a dedicated, build this car specifically just for World Time Attack so that I can have something that sort of fits in with that whole ethos of building a car that's 100% dedicated to everything about it is just the one lap. It just has to hold together for one lap. So everything that we do on the car is just right on the knife's edge of our abilities and my monetary funding. The chassis starts off pretty twitchy. When you first, as it sits with the smaller tyre sizes, when you start putting power into it, it's a bit of a square setup car. So it's got a longer wheelbase than a Boxster. But then as soon as you start pushing it out wider and it starts to become a square car, then it starts to become a little out of control. Changing to bigger tyres and then getting suspension that works. Met Chris from Shopworks. Of all places, just a wheel line place, got talking, and that's before what he's grown his business into now. And then he just helped me make something up, I think from scratch actually. And then he just got involved with helping me and has attended track days with us before and helped tune suspension to get it right. He actually messaged me a couple of days ago because he saw He was watching a YouTube video of my car going around a corner, and he's like, the front end's not doing what I want it to do, or that doesn't look right. We need to do some revalving. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then it was, mate, starting up a carbon business. So I bought a wide body kit, made some modifications to it to suit what we were doing with our car, gave it to him. Then they remolded the whole thing in carbon fiber. Have electrical problems, so you opt to rewire the whole car. Yeah, the ECU you're using has issues, so you opt to go to a better ECU, which is we're now running Haltech stuff. We started off with old Power C stuff, but then it was just progressively changing everything, moving up to stuff that I guess as you can afford to do it, or you just realize that the old saying of do it once, do it right is actually a real thing, even though nobody wants to believe it. And then same with a lot of the fittings and stuff in the car. We ended up learning how to build engines ourselves. No one is going to do a better job than yourself spending the time to learn how to do it if you actually enjoy it. We've basically been using the car as a tool for everybody to learn something. I guess it's been about going as fast as we can for what we have, but it's been about learning every aspect sort of thing of what it takes to build a car and operate at a certain level. I would like to at some point aim to get a professional driver in there, because it would actually be really interesting. The reward for everybody who's been involved in it would actually be seeing what it can actually do. First thing, what did I think first rocking up? Scared as shit. It's a case of like walking in there, and I've just driven up in my street car. It's like unloading the boot. We're like, well, what spares? You've got like your basic handheld toolkit, which we actually did get from Supercheap Auto. And then that's just our basic maintenance, 1 bottle of oil just in case we burn through some kind of thing. And it's a big event for somebody who has no idea what they're doing. But once you're in there, like once you're there and you start conversing with people, it's fantastic. It's addictive. The people in the pits or the other teams, like everybody we've ever shared the pits with has been absolutely phenomenal to like talk to or deal with. Met some amazing people or whatever, and we've been friends ever since. Like I actually went to that guy's wedding like a couple of years ago, sort of thing. So everybody that I've met along, still talked to, made friends sort of thing, and have had the connections to expand what we do kind of thing. So I wouldn't be doing this without the community that exists as it is. You can pretty much almost walk up to anybody in there and have a chat. I guess as long as they're not in the middle of doing something, but just being able to have a chat to people or ask questions, all that sort of thing has just been, the only reason to keep doing it. Now, as it sits, our last dyno was 600 horsepower at the wheels, 935 kilos, full wet, full tank. And so it's a 2ZZ built motor that we built ourselves. It's got a Garrett GT3582 on it, running so all the vibrant clamps through it. Actually, the big change was changing over to a Haltech PDM. We want to try and get as low into the 30s as possible. Like, we'll never be a front running team. We don't have the resources or the ability, should I say, for myself to do that. But I think it's just push as hard as you can for what you have. Like, as I said, the car's got it in there. It's just the usual, these ones. If everything holds together, and then I actually managed to string one lap together, that's the big thing.
And what advice would you give to someone who wants to follow down the same path that you have?
You just got to get out there and have a go. And then at that point, when the bug bites, if it's your thing, you just can't stop going. And then you get really into it, and then you go too far. And then stuff like this happens when you don't intend on happening, and then not only do you get really into it, you drag all your mates down with you. Same as where we're at with this car now. We break stuff all the time, but it's to the point now it's not even a disappointment. It's just like, oh, something else, all right. It becomes part of the journey. That's just part of it, part of what you enjoy about it. Sure, setting lap times is addictive, but setting a lap time after you've like had to put in like the hard work to get to that lap time, so much more enjoyable. What I found was my realization last year, or my actual epiphany of the whole thing, just that it's not actually even about the fast lap times. That's a reward. The actual aspect of it is just getting there, building it, getting there, and actually competing and being involved in the whole process. It's like, I was like epic, I wouldn't call it epic depressed, but I was real freaking over it after last year. I'm like, I spent so much like money of like, this is all like, as I said, I do get sponsored help with a lot of stuff, like parts in kind of thing. But the actual money to like buy a set of tires or to run just one weekend and people to take, because to run this car, we need a minimum of 3 people to run it. I can't just go by myself to a track day kind of thing. But the amount of people that I have to absorb into it, the amount of my personal money that it takes to run the car, and I'm just like, what for? But then it was sort of the epiphany of the whole thing was afterwards when you sit down, let it cool off, you watch event stories and other people competing, and you're like, you know what? It was actually the whole process. We got there, we road trip there, we stopped for brunch, we do stuff when we go up there, we set the car up, we act professional, people ask us if we're a real team. We're not, but we cover really well. And then we break stuff, we fix stuff, we drive again, we break more stuff, we fix stuff, we try and set a lap time. And then sometimes it comes together, sometimes it doesn't. And it's just sort of like, the reward is there and it's sort of like working towards that. As I said, it's never gonna be a competitive car, but it's the thing of everybody being part of it and spending literally a whole week with your like best mates kind of thing, breaking stuff and fixing stuff. And then watching your mates rage about what you're asking them to do because you don't want to get dirty because you've got your nice clean race suit on. Weeks after the event, it just becomes memes amongst your group of like when your mate threw a spanner and had a hissy fit because he just couldn't mentally handle what was going on, or a mate's pushed away a roller trolley because he's cracked the sads, or somebody's threatened to kill somebody because they were like doing something, or somebody's like touched your car sort of thing, like one of your mates to like stuff around with you kind of thing. All that kind of stuff is like, it's just part of it. So, and that's the part that I actually realized that I enjoy about it. And the reason why I re-entered again this year, and why even my thing now is I think I'm actually just going to keep re-entering because it's just doing the whole thing.
It's super at Supercheap Auto.